It makes so many buttons you have to click.
You gotta jump through so many hoops.
Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. We appreciate you guys being here. Happy Friday the 13th. Sadly, no, we are not doing a Friday the
Yeah.
13th commentary because we don't plan like that. We are doing the double feature Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. This is going to be a 2-movie commentary. So, and we're going to take a little bit of break in between just to, keep our brains fresh because I've watched a lot of movies today.
It'll give people a chance to grab some snacks. Everybody needs an intermission.
Yeah, that's what the word I was looking for. Yeah. Torgo, I watched 6 episodes of The Fall of the House of Usher today.
Oh, yeah. How is that?
It is fantastic.
Nice. I still need to see I haven't seen any of the Mike Flanagan Netflix stuff.
Oh.
Yet.
So we'll get into the commentary here in just a second. I just have to gush about the show a little bit. So, kind of the basic premise, it's like it's adapting the Poe story where it's like this downfall of the family.
Mm-hmm.
But Flanagan takes it one step further. So each episode is about the downfall of a specific member of the family, and their downfall is another Poe story. It's adapting Poe stories within the adaptation of a Poe story.
That's really cool.
Like, how do you think to do that?
It's kind of the ultimate Poe love letter.
And I mean that's kind of his formula with Hill House too, where it's like each episode is going to be specific to a certain character, and that's why it's like a 8 or 9 episode miniseries.
Yeah.
But this is the first kind of adaptation that he's done something like this, where it's like we're gonna adapt something, but within that adaptation, we're gonna adapt all these little things too, and it's just like, whoa.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check all of those out. I don't know how many there's. I know.
So the main ones you need to see is the Haunting on Hill House.
Yeah.
Which I would totally be down to watch that with you.
Yeah, maybe someday.
Midnight Mass, and then this one. Bly Manor, he did not work on as much. He was not as involved in it, so I've been told. And I watched the first half of half of the first episode. It's like this is boring.
Oh, okay, yeah. I tend to hear more positive things about Hill House anyway.
But you know what's insane about Bly Manor?
What's that?
They cast Greg Sestero.
Oh, really?
He is in that. In a serious role.
Well, now I can't just skip it. I have to see that. I can't just skip that. Yeah, no, Greg Sestero. I know he was in one of the Puppet Master movies too before The Room was even a thing.
And I gotta tell you, I watched the first one of those. I was kind of disappointed.
Oh, really?
It's kind of boring.
Oh.
And then the puppets don't even show up till the third act. Yeah. Well, but anyway, sorry. Noah and I haven't had a chance to talk all week, so now we're just kind of catching up on stream.
Yeah.
And I'm easily distracted. So we're going to start with Frankenstein. Obviously, we're not like some people and start with Bride of Frankenstein. That would be madness.
That would be weird. What freak would do that?
I am watching the first one on disc. I have this lovely little set. I was not able to get volume 2. By the way, this is outside of the slipcover because I didn't want to grab both. But this comes with Dracula, Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, and the Wolfman. I like 3 of these out of 4, so I figured not too bad. Actually, you know what? Technically, it comes with 5 because this has the Spanish Dracula that Austin was telling us about.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like a different movie. So Torgo, you've told me before, but you've read the book, right?
Yeah, in high school, in like my senior year, I think I took a science fiction class, and one of the books we went over was Frankenstein, and I fell in love with it. Like the actual book itself is like kind of hard to get through in some respects, and in how it's written because it's a very old book. But I just fell in love with the story
It's a great
of
idea.
it.
It's so
Yeah,
great we keep doing it just with different things.
and there's a lot of like big differences between the book and the movie. I still like the movie as its own thing, but like in some ways, I think the book is probably still the best version of that story.
Ooh, them's fighting words.
Maybe I mean
Because
these movies are iconic for a reason, and
I'm
we'll
not
go
even
into
talking
that.
about this movie, but because I like this movie. I think the Hammer Frankenstein is better. That at least the first one. That's the only one I've seen.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think the Hammer one might be better,
Okay,
but
yeah, I'm
I've
gonna
only
have to
seen
check
each
that out.
once.
I'm gonna have to check
Um,
that out. I'm really not as familiar with Hammer as I am with Universe, and even then, I've only seen like a few Universal movies, but
yeah,
still.
yeah. So we're both kind of outside of our comfort zone, so to speak. Mine is obviously my Universal monsters are Freddy and Jason, and the '80s wave of slashers, um, which I think many people can make an argument for was the next generation of
Yeah,
Universal monsters. Not that they were made by Universal, but that
not even that they were like connected in any way, but like they were like the horror monsters, the horror icons of their respective generation.
yeah. Well, Noah, do you want to do any preamble before we get started?
No, I've got the first one pulled up on Peacock. I'm ready to jump in.
Can
Sadly, I
you
don't I don't own these movies yet, sadly, but I will eventually.
can you hear my TV?
Um I could slightly. Yeah, I can hear it a little bit. So I got to make sure mine isn't too loud.
I turn subtitles on.
And turn on subtitles. That's a good idea.
I discovered today
So I
that
don't
Paramount
forget.
does not have subtitles, at least on their web browser.
Oh, really?
I watched The Ring today for that horror movie challenge that Austin's doing, and I was watching it on my computer while I was playing a game. So I went to turn on subtitles, and there's no option for it.
Oh no.
I was
There's
like,
another
what?
reason why that streaming service sucks.
It might be the worst one. You know what's saving it for me, though?
What's that?
You can bundle it with Showtime.
Yeah, because at least with Showtime, you get like quality content.
They have all the A24 films.
Oh, okay,
Paramount Plus
cool.
will get you if you get to I think it's like $12 a month, 13. You can get Showtime, which has all of the A24 flicks.
Yeah. Well, and actually, it's not that Paramount itself doesn't has only like bad content because they got Star Trek on there, but then they also have New Trek, so you take the good with the bad.
I mean, that's just all bad, but
Oh, come on. You go watch more DS9.
I do need to watch more DS9. All right. Uh Everybody get to timestamp 0 in and Torgo, if you're watching, and for anyone else watching on Peacock, did you get past any commercials you have to
Yeah, I watched through all the ads. So
okay.
usually, if you're watching on Peacock, there's like a big dump of ads at the beginning.
Which is
Get
honestly how
past,
they should all do it.
yeah, no, yeah, get past all of that, and then the rest of the movie's ad free.
In 3, 2, 1, play. And I don't have a fancy way to do timestamps or anything, but feel free to ask, and one of us will give you a timestamp.
And I
Um,
might be off by just a second because my play thing was delayed for some reason.
oh, you're good. Speaking of Peacock, while we're just going through the logos here, I finished Chucky season 2 finally.
Oh yeah,
So,
we got to talk about that. Uh, I
yeah,
don't
we'll
know
talk
if we'll
about
do
that
a
later, but
video because I've seen a little bit of season 3 now, which is interesting so far.
Present this picture. They're gonna present us a picture, Torgo.
Can you imagine if a modern movie started out like this, where a guy just comes out and says, "This movie's gonna be too spooky. Get ready."
I feel like everyone would think it's satire.
I mean, that's probably the only way to do it at this point.
Yeah, no, we're too self-aware now.
I do like how The Simpsons some of the Treehouse of Horror episodes parody that opening.
Do you ever think about just how fascinating it is that these were such a phenomena? Like, Universal took a bunch of books, or at least in the case of like Dracula and Frankenstein. I don't know about the Mummy or the Wolfman or the Invisible Man,
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh,
but
Invisible Man is based on a book.
okay, they took a bunch of books, and I don't know how they were received at the time, but they took a bunch of books, gave it to somebody, and said, "Make this a movie." And they became some of the most influential and iconic movies of all time.
Yeah, and of course, well, we all know the monster is played by Question Mark, very
Yeah,
famous actor.
yeah. He went on. He went on to play Dracula in Question Mark versus Dracula.
He went on to play the Bride of Frankenstein, because that's also a question mark. No, but yeah, no, I mean, at least with Frankenstein, I don't know really the history of Dracula too much, but at least with Frankenstein, that book was pretty. It was kind of a classic in its own right before the movie came along.
And I think what really helps these movies, and I mean, obviously, this is just how movies looked at the time for the most part, but this
Yeah,
doesn't show its age in the. This shows its age in the best ways. Like this
yeah,
doesn't look cheap.
yeah, and it's. I think the black and white kind of hides that, but it also just like adds to the overall like style and atmosphere of this movie.
Yeah, and I mean, this became a style of cinema. Like, how many times have we talked about like this is like looking at the Universal movies.
Yeah. Um yeah, and I mean like you look at the background and it's kind of obvious that that's a fake background, but at the same time it's just it's charming, you know.
It's not distracting in the way like a bad green screen is,
Right.
because there's something actually there.
Right.
Oh boy, he's spitting on his hands. And then of course this is directed by James Whale. Does he do Bride too?
Yes. This Bride and Invisible Man, right?
Does he do Invisible Man?
I think he does.
Let me see if it's in my collection here. I mean, I know Invisible Man is, but I don't know if it lists the director.
Well, cuz I know Invisible Man reuses some actors that are in Bride or whichever came first. I don't know.
No, Frankenstein comes first.
But does Bride of Frankenstein come before Invisible Man, or
Uh, no, because these collections are in order, and Bride is in the second one.
okay?
Yeah, because Bride is 35. This is Invisible Man is 33. No,
So
what?
here
Yeah,
we've
no, you're
got
right. It is James Whale.
Henry Frankenstein, as he's called in the movie. It's weird they flipped it in the book because the book he's Victor, and he has a friend named Henry. But in here, he's Henry and he's got a friend named Victor. It's very strange. I don't know why they made that change.
That is weird. Could it be like a Stan Lee with Bruce Banner thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Which
Because
is
I don't even.
especially strange because the director is now a known homosexual.
Yeah, for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was like the same motivation as the Hulk thing, whereas like they thought Bruce was a gay sounding name. I really don't know. It's something I'd have to look into. But here we've got the Hunchback assistant, who's not a character at all in the book.
Which is strange. That's strange to me because I feel like he's as iconic as anything else in this movie now.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of the iconography most people associate with Frankenstein just comes from this movie,
Well,
even
and
though a lot of it isn't in the book.
what's even weirder because so you mentioned before that he has he has a friend named Victor. Is the Hunchback named Victor?
No, it's a character that shows up later, uh, named
Oh,
Victor.
okay. 'Cause I was gonna say because in like everything I've ever seen, Frankenstein's assistant is Igor,
Yeah, I forget what he's called in this movie, but I think the Igor name comes later.
and we
That's
really get
in
hammy
neither
with
of
that
these.
too.
Yeah.
Where some Igors will have the most over the top accent. And
The best Igor is the young Frankenstein Igor.
this is kind of formatted like a modern day television show. Like that was a commercial break.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know, just they had some older editing techniques back then.
You good over there?
Yeah.
Well, and like we kind of hinted at the beginning, out of all of them, this is also the one that I think the just main plot is stolen from all the time. Like how many things have we watched where it's just they're trying to make it's their own take on Frankenstein?
Yeah. You got Tim Burton's Frankenweenie.
You got Pieces.
I didn't even really think, yeah, Pieces. I guess that counts.
That's just a slasher movie Frankenstein.
Yeah, but it's more like a mystery.
Yeah, but I mean his motivation's the same.
Yeah. No,
And
but
then we skipped that episode when we were watching Buffy, but there's a Buffy episode where they do their own kind of Frankenstein thing.
oh really?
Yeah, he's like killing girls to make his dead brother the perfect wife. I guess I should say that one's doing more of the Bride of Frankenstein thing. Are you ready for the James Wan Frankenstein?
No.
Or
I'm
who
ready
is
for
it
the Del
that's
Toro Frankenstein.
no,
It seems
who's
like
doing
that's
that
actually
one?
happening.
Who's doing that one where it's like a young adult version of Frankenstein?
I'm not sure. Is that yeah, I think that's James Wan. Because I vaguely remember what you're talking about, but I hadn't thought about it in a while, so I didn't realize that was still in production. Universal, it seems like they've had more success with the monsters lately, but it still seems like they have no idea what to do with them.
Are you ready for the
With
angry black girl and her monster?
I don't know.
Apparently, it's a
But
take on Frankenstein.
yeah, but this guy over here is Victor.
Okay.
And I love that they just have a headshot of that other actor over here as a picture.
There's more Frankenstein movies than I thought.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of adaptations. There's like a mini series one from 2004 that I had never heard of until recently.
We
Um,
should watch Frankenstein's Army.
I want to check out the Kenneth Branagh movie because that was like the kind of follow up to Bram Stoker's Dracula, where it's supposed to be more of a faithful adaptation, but I hear that one has its own problems, though, so I'm not sure.
What the fuck? Apparently, there's an adult stop motion animated TV show created by somebody for Adult Swim called
Oh
Mary.
wait, I think I've heard of this. Yeah,
Mary Shelley's Frankenhole.
yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, I think that's like the same guy that made Moral Oral for Adult Swim.
Wikipedia. So I'm looking at a list of films featuring Frankenstein's monster. And I mean, I guess this makes sense, but they have RoboCop under here.
Oh,
I mean, I guess you could.
Do they have Magneto?
No,
Remember when he
sadly.
says in First Class, "Just call me Frankenstein's monster"?
They do have Stan Helsing though.
Oh, okay.
And Lilo and Stitch.
What? How is that a Frankenstein story?
Oh, here you go. No, Torgo. Frankenstein versus the creature from Blood Cove.
Do you remember the part in Lilo and Stitch where Lilo digs up a corpse?
I do actually.
Yeah, nobody actually talks about that.
Whoa, De Niro is the monster in
Yeah,
Branagh's.
yeah. De Niro is the monster in the Branagh movie. It's interesting casting, but I know a lot of people have their problems with that movie, so I want to see for myself what the issues are.
Oh, that new Goosebumps show is out. I have nothing to say about this part because I don't know if this is like real science or gobbledygook.
My guess is it's probably gobbledygook.
The first season of the new Goosebumps show is 5 episodes. Really?
It's 5 episodes. I don't know. I'm glad that seasons are shorter now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll do a Frankenstein kind of episode of Goosebumps.
Maybe. Ooh, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is on Paramount Plus. So naturally, Bram Stoker's Dracula isn't streaming.
Yeah, I still have to watch that. It's never streaming when I want to
I've
watch
only
it.
seen it once. Yeah, I was thinking of doing a double feature tomorrow. Maybe I'll just give in and rent Dracula.
I'll probably just rent it. We'll see. There's a lot of stuff I have planned for what I wanted to watch this month, and even then, I don't think I have enough time to get to everything.
I feel that. I was getting worried I was not gonna have time to watch House of Usher, and then I logged into work today, and they're like, "Hey, you want to do chat support?" Sure.
There you go.
Turn on Netflix. That's the cool thing about being at the job I'm at now. If they pull me off the phones, I can just watch movies all day and get paid for it.
It's awesome, dude.
So, since I have seen the Hammer movies as well, like I'm not saying this to take away from this because I think this looks beautiful and I love the set design. But
Yeah.
Hammer is just the Hammer movies are so good at what we think of as like gothic architecture and atmosphere. And I think they surpassed these a little bit in terms of set design, costumes.
Okay, interesting.
Plus, you get Christopher Lee, man.
From what I remember of the Christopher Lee Dracula movie, that had pretty good production design.
Yeah. I just rewatched that. It's fantastic.
He's fantastic as Dracula. I'd have to see what his monster is like, because he wouldn't be my first pick to play the monster.
Yeah, that one really feels like, well, we got to reuse these actors because we already have them under
Right.
contract or something.
Like Peter Cushing, on the other hand, I think is perfect for Victor Frankenstein, but
I agree.
I don't know about Christopher Lee. I'd have to see for myself.
Well, and the interesting thing with the Hammer Frankenstein, because obviously they're not looking to just remake these, is it's more of a look at the sins of the creator.
Yeah, from what I hear, I think the later sequels focus more on Frankenstein as a character, and he has like newer creations, and they don't really go back to the monster. From what I've heard, I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah, I've only watched the first one. I did watch the second of the Hammer Dracula movies the other day, and like it's okay, but its biggest issue is it doesn't bring Christopher Lee back.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, it's just like random vampire man.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
You need Christopher Lee. Like
you really do.
He's awesome as Dracula.
And it's funny because I have a feeling that audiences reacted the same way because the Lee comes back in the very next movie.
That's good.
We keep trying to make iconic monster movies without the iconic monster. It never works, folks.
From what I've heard, a lot of the machinery and like props and stuff used in this scene were reused in a lot of other movies for like decades after this came out. Just because like there's such like an iconic look to them, it's like why not reuse them?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm sure it was economical too, right? Like these,
That's
like
true.
obviously, I said earlier these movies don't look cheap. These had to
If
for
you
the time
pay
it had to be
attention,
costly.
they do.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just for the time, like these had to be expensive to make.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, for the time they were probably more expensive. But like I said earlier, I think what really helps it is the black and white. Just being able to hide the details of certain things.
Don't worry, Torgo. Next year they'll re-release this movie in color.
Oh god. They're probably I feel like someone probably already tried to colorize this movie and it doesn't look good. Like Night of the Living Dead.
I'm gonna watch the color edit of that movie this month. I am too curious.
It's I don't think I can bring myself to do that.
Oh
There's
no,
some
you are Torgo.
there's
You are
some movies.
correct.
Oh, there is a version of this in color.
Yeah.
That's awful. There,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, there's some movies that work better in black and white.
The guy that plays Frankenstein, what is his name?
I forget the actor's name. Yeah.
Boris Karloff.
Oh, you mean yeah, the monster? Yeah.
Yeah. He let's see if it'll clear up. It's just a dude.
That looks terrible. It's just a dude with a big head. Oh no. I don't know why. I always imagined him to have more greener skin.
Well, that's the poster,
Yeah.
And I mean that's kind of the iconic look.
I guess in the book it's different because he's described as having kind of like a palish yellowish kind of skin tint to him.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty gross description from what I remember.
Well, and I mean he would be gross, right? Like he's made of corpses.
Yeah. No, yeah, he would be a gross zombie man. No, I'm really interested to see what Del Toro's take is like, because I imagine he's probably a big fan of the book, and I don't know how faithful he would be to it.
Is the Bride of Frankenstein purely a movie thing?
No, so there's a section in the book where the monster makes a deal with Frankenstein that Frankenstein has to make him a bride, but at the very last second he destroys the like experiment he was working on to make the bride, and kills her, and which pisses off the monster. So she's not actually like alive in the book, but that does come from the book.
I think I could see Del Toro doing that, right? Combining these two into one movie.
Yeah. Well, and the blind man too was also a thing from the book, except he had a whole family, and that section lasted for much longer. So there's stuff from Bride that is adapted from the book that they didn't adapt in the first movie. So I can't remember who plays Henry Frankenstein in this movie, but he's he's chewing the scenery, but he does such a good job in this movie.
Yeah, normally these movies, even with the lesser known actors that don't necessarily get remembered, I don't think they ever cast badly.
No, yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure the Hunchback assistant is the guy that plays Renfield in Dracula too. So I guess whenever they needed like a crazy guy in these movies, they just used him.
Let's drag him out of the asylum.
Yeah, get him out of his straitjacket.
So Henry Frankenstein is played by Colin Clive.
Okay, yeah,
And apparently
yeah. He
this is
does.
what he was most known for.
He's the most known for saying "It's alive," and then a line right after that that pissed off a lot of Christians.
This is something because I mentioned how I prefer like the way the Hammer films look. This is something that Hammer is missing, whereas the creation of the monster feels larger than life. Like some serious shit's
Yeah,
about to go down.
yeah. And in general, I think I might prefer the look of these movies, but like I said, I'm not as familiar with Hammer. But from what I've seen the first Dracula movie, and that is a pretty good looking movie. Um, but yeah, like these movies are a lot more theatrical in a way that those aren't.
Yeah.
We're at the iconic line.
This is also something I hope if that Del Toro one ever happens that he keeps is just the way this science gear looks. It's heightened enough
Yeah,
that it doesn't feel outdated.
yeah. I think he will kind of stick to that visual style based on what I know about Del Toro. I can't imagine him doing anything modern looking with this material.
Torgo, he said the thing.
He knows what it's like to be God.
And people everywhere were rioting.
I mean, people get mad about little things all the time. Still happens today.
It does. Why does that guy smoking a pipe look like he's gonna take a nap?
I think he's in his pajamas.
He just rolled on the set. I'm gonna do my lines. It's Bill Murray before Bill Murray, folks.
The only difference is he's standing up right now.
True. He's put more effort in than Bill Murray has in the last few movies I've seen him in. I have to say, this 4K restoration is beautiful.
This looks great, yeah. I'm just watching the streaming version, but it still looks really good.
It always impresses me how good they're able to make these older movies, like pre 70s movies.
Honestly, though, like a lot of the most impressive 4K movies I've seen have been older movies.
Yeah, but I mean, like with 70s and 80s movies, I don't know if it's just the way I perceive movies that are past a certain decade, but I'm not as impressed with 70s and 80s movies. With something like this that was made in the 30s, I'm like super impressed.
I mean, yeah, I have that. I have that with like pre 90s, 2000s movies in 4K. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I'm younger.
Well, and I think part of it is the standards, right? Like,
yeah,
they couldn't have they couldn't have been thinking about film preservation when these came out.
there probably were to an extent, but like, I don't know. There's certain things where people definitely weren't thinking about preservation in like
Well,
the
and I
60s.
mean, the 80s are full of that.
Well, one of the first things I thought of with that is like old Doctor Who episodes that are just lost right now because the BBC threw out the original like masters for them to save money.
That's insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of lost first and second Doctor episodes. But I don't know if they were more conscious with that with movies, or I'd like to learn more about how much they cared about film preservation during this time.
Yeah. You're the college student. You tell us.
Yeah, I don't see, like, as much as I consider myself a movie buff, there's still a lot I don't know. Yeah, I consider myself a movie buff, but I hadn't seen any of these Universal movies until like 2 years ago.
I mean, if it makes you feel it better, I've considered myself a horror buff. And before I met you, like you in Austin, I hadn't seen like The Thing or any of
Oh,
these or
really?
The Exorcist.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I hadn't seen The Exorcist until a couple of years ago.
I ordered that on 4K today.
Great. Well, I saw that in theaters a few weeks ago. It was
All
a great
right,
experience.
Mr. Fancy Pants.
I wasn't trying to one up you.
You ordered on
But
4K. I saw it in theaters, motherfucker.
yeah, no. In the middle of me saying that, I realized how that sounded.
No,
No, I want to get that 4K. The restoration looked pretty good on the big screen. I got to see Bride on the big screen last year in another double feature, except it wasn't with this movie; it was with The Mummy. So, a worse movie than this. But I guess it makes sense because they're both Karloff movies. Hmm. He is.
And I would say out of the Universal monsters I've seen, obviously, I like most of them. I'm not the biggest fan of the Wolfman. This is the only one that feels ahead of its time.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is just because of how many adaptations this story has had. Where,
See,
because I basically knew the story of this movie before I watched it.
well, and I think it's also different. So I'm just going to use these first four for let's say the first wave. Out of the four on here, the Frankenstein's monster is the only one that's not a bad guy.
Oh yeah, and I think that might be why he's my favorite.
Like you can make an
He's the most
argument for the Wolfman
sympathetic.
because he's not really in control of himself when he transforms,
Right.
but he's still a
Yeah.
monster when he transforms. This isn't a
Dracula.
monster.
Yeah. Dracula and the Invisible Man are straight up bad guys.
Yeah. Have you seen the Invisible Man?
Yeah. It's I don't love it as much as the Frankenstein movies, but it was good.
It might be my third favorite.
I
Like
gotta watch
Dracula
it
is.
again
Yeah, me
because
too.
I remember liking it, but I kind of like getting a little bored with it at a certain point.
Like Dracula is really good, but it's all Lugosi.
Yeah, it's all, and I mean, he carries that movie.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I can't decide if I like him or Lee more. Like they're both just so good.
Honestly, as much as I like Lugosi, I think Lee might be my favorite Dracula. But I still got to see Bram Stoker's Dracula, Gary Oldman.
It's kind of a shame that Universal doesn't know what to do with these. I would make an
Yeah,
argument. It's been long enough. You could just remake this scene shot for shot, modernize it, still make it good, obviously.
I wouldn't do it shot for shot, but yeah.
Well,
Uh,
you don't have
re-
to, but just for speculation purposes, you could just remake this. It's been long
yeah,
enough.
they really. I mean, that whole dark universe, that we could do a whole other video on that, but they really blew it with that. And I think Del Toro at a certain point was attached to do the Universal Frankenstein.
Well, it's
I
because they
don't.
want to make them action movies.
Yeah,
You
no,
don't need to do that.
they had the wrong approach. The only thing I think the only reason they wanted to do that is because it worked for the Mummy, and it did work for the Mummy, but that doesn't mean it'll work for Dracula
Well,
and
because it wasn't
Frankenstein.
action like schlock. It wasn't Tom. It wasn't Brandon Fraser in a airplane screaming at the top of his lungs. It was just like it was small action.
It was the Brendan Fraser movie. It was
It's Indiana Jones.
It was Indiana Jones with horror elements.
Yeah,
And it's better than the Boris Karloff movie. That's a hot take, but that's what I think.
and I still haven't seen the Mummy yet. Well, what makes me laugh is they didn't learn anything. They did that. Do you remember
They
that
didn't learn
Dracula
anything.
Untold, where they tried to make Dracula like a war movie?
Yeah, and that came out before the Tom Cruise Mummy. I
That came out in
think.
like 2013, and it
Yeah,
flopped.
yeah.
So their next idea was, what if we make the Mummy an action movie again?
See, and I can see them thinking that if they do it with the Mummy, they could pull it off again because of how successful the Brendan Fraser movies were. But you're right, like it's crazy that they ended up doing that again. Like right after Dracula Untold bombed.
And I didn't even hate Dracula Untold. It just wasn't amazing. It wasn't great. It was just, like,
Yeah,
fine.
it kind of looked like just a bland whatever action movie to
It,
me.
it had a good Dracula, or like he had the foundations to be a good Dracula.
Yeah,
At
I
least
would
we
have,
got the Invisible Man from 2020.
and I still need to watch that. But honestly, though, like Last Voyage of the Demeter was a pretty good movie, and I can see that being part of an overall monster universe if they wanted to do more. But it seems like they don't really know what they want to do right now.
No, I agree. Well, this has been a weird year for Dracula, right?
Yeah,
Because
because
we
you
had
got Renfield.
Renfield and the Last Voyage of the Demeter. Demeter, however you're supposed to say that.
Yeah, yeah, both from Universal. Um, I mean, I get not wanting to do another adaptation of Frankenstein and Dracula just because there are so many, but like, I don't know. I think we have yet to get like a really good version of this story that's true to
The
the
book.
book. Um, like I said, I haven't
What
seen the
about I
Kenneth Branagh
Frankenstein?
movie. I there's no way that that's a good movie. um, and I don't know. I think Del Toro could be the guy to give us like a really good version of that, but we'll see.
And also, like, maybe this wouldn't be as cool now because he's doing Nosferatu. Give Robert Eggers one of
Yeah.
these movies.
I mean, if there's any I would want Eggers to do, it would probably be Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Just for that old like gothic kind of aesthetic. I'm very excited for his Nosferatu though. Like,
That might be my most anticipated film. Is it next year?
I think so, yeah. Hopefully. R.I.P. uh not Igor. They can always do an Igor movie in the style of Renfield. And I just got sucked into the movie. That's my problem though with doing like commentaries on movies. I don't know like the back of my hand is that sometimes I kind of just end up watching it.
Yeah, it's a commentary.
Yeah.
Watch the movie, take a nap.
All right. That's it. We're gonna take a nap on live on YouTube.
Haven of Horror first ever sleep stream, folks.
This the sleep stream. No, you guys don't want to hear me snore.
I've heard you snore.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what happens when we do an all-nighter watching Leprechaun. We haven't covered any Leprechaun on the channel, have we?
We haven't. We should do the first movie on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down.
Down to clown.
Friend with weed is a friend indeed. It might be fun to do a commentary on the third one or like the space one, just because those movies are wacky.
I'm going to say something that might be controversial, Torgo. Bring back the 70-minute movie.
I can see where you're coming from with that, because like, especially like the past few years, we've had really long blockbusters, and I don't really care how long a movie is, as long as the story needs to be that long. I just think it's kind of annoying that like every movie has to be pushing 3 hours now.
Yeah.
Um, so I see where you're coming from with that. I'd say bring back. You rarely see any like 90-minute movies, 90-minute long movies anymore. I'd prefer that because I think this is a little too on the shorter side for me. As much as I like these movies.
That's fair.
Um, but at the beginning of this stream, I kind of joked about intermissions, but like honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing the return of intermissions if movies are like push it like 3 hours long or pushing 3 hours long.
He's alive.
He's alive. He's gonna go off on an adventure now.
I'm going to turn my camera off for just a second because for some reason I have no sound on my movie, so I will be right back.
Okay. We'll be right back, everybody. I always laugh when I watch older movies and I just see like every character is smoking. It's like we live in such a different time now. Now, as much as I think the actor does a good job, I still think Victor, instead of Henry in the book, is just a much more fleshed out and interesting character in the book. Um, in this, he's kind of more of just a mad scientist, crazy guy. But he's not really that way in the book. Like, he actually has layers to him. And even the monster himself is fleshed out more, I feel like, too. Like, they're both very complex characters.
What timestamp are you on?
I am on 46 minutes, 14 seconds. Right now it's 46:20. Even the set design in this scene is just well done. Like, it's not this big gothic castle, but it's just a nice looking area.
Yeah, no, I'm super impressed with it, like all the way through. Where are you at now?
47:10. Now it's 47:20.
All right, we are
Okay.
good. We
All
might be a
right.
couple seconds off, but who cares?
I think I might be a little ahead of you. They're not going to be happy and celebrating for very long.
True.
Now, another interesting thing, not to just compare this to the book the whole time, but stuff I just keep thinking about. In the book, he saves our girl from drowning instead of throwing her into the lake for her to drown.
Interesting.
So, yeah, just shows how different the characterizations of the monster is, depending on the version.
I can't see this scene anymore without thinking of the Chucky episode where they watch this
Oh, yeah.
and Chucky starts laughing.
It's my favorite scene. I do laugh how I do think it's kind of funny how this girl just drowns in shallow water.
So I'm gonna be an anime nerd here for a second, but Dragon Ball Z has a subplot that references this kind of.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so in the final villain Majin Buu, he is terrified of he scares everyone, right? Except this little boy who's blind. Because the
Oh,
kid can't see him, he's the first person to show any kindness to Boo.
interesting. Yeah, that's like the blind man
Yeah.
in Frankenstein.
See, this should look terrible, but it doesn't.
You know what would make it look terrible? Is if
Being
they
in color.
colorized it. Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny is because you have that screenshot, but I was looking at the menu when I rebooted the movie. Even on the menu, his face is green. He's intended to
Yeah.
be green.
No, I think most people, when they think of Frankenstein, it's like this version but green. So I have no idea why they would make him flesh colored. Maybe that was a conscious decision to make it more like the book. I doubt it, but
Like this is legitimately horrifying because he thinks he's playing.
yeah, yeah. It's really just a tragic thing because like we said earlier, he's not a bad guy, but like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Torgo, what would you do if somebody re-edited this? The minute he threw that girl in the water, bad guy started playing.
I'd just laugh like that. I'd think it was a silly YouTube edit.
I mean, that's probably a YouTube edit. Let's be real.
And if it's not, it should be.
Do it, Noah.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You should do that and then re-edit. Make your own cut of 2001.
I think someone could cut together this movie and Bride, because Bride is basically just part two.
That has to exist, right?
I feel like it should. Like, I feel like someone has to have made that by now. Um, just like you could cut the Evil Dead trilogy together and it's all like one story. Although it's probably easier with this because they're each only about an hour long. So it would just make a 2 hour long movie.
True.
I know Peacock also has some of the other sequels on here, like Son of Frankenstein and whatever comes after that. And I want to try to watch that this month.
And obviously, I'd be remiss without mentioning that I think there's a purposeful thing to Chucky referencing Frankenstein because it happens multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Most notably, of
Well,
course, the Bride of Chucky.
yep. Well, Chucky is a reanimated. He starts out as an inanimate object and becomes animated. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's that.
Well, and you get the kind of Frankenstein look in 4 where he's like all sewn up
Yeah.
and
The big difference is that Chucky
is
loves
better.
being evil.
Yeah, that's why he's better.
Me. I think he just wants to say hi.
He just wanted his machete back.
He just wants a hug.
That is a over the top wedding gown.
Yeah, you need like people to carry that behind her.
Like I've never understood why people choose wedding dresses that have like 6 foot of cloth behind them.
Yeah. I guess it because it draws attention. I don't know.
And there's a little humor in this one. That was funny.
Yeah, Bride is definitely more comedic, but there's some humor in this movie. Not so much this scene. Now, I do think it's weird how this guy immediately jumps to the conclusion that someone drowned his daughter on purpose instead of her
Yeah.
just like going in and then drowning herself. Like how does he know? But we need to start an angry mob so we can get to the third act.
Do you think they're gonna say evil dies tonight?
I missed opportunity.
Do you think this movie was inspired by Halloween Kills?
Yes, I think Frankenstein. I think Frankenstein from the 1930s was inspired by 2022's Halloween Kills.
God, was that only last year?
Or maybe it was 2021. Yeah, because Ends was last year. That's I don't know.
Was it? Wait, no, hold on.
Ends was last year. Yeah, I know you wish it was longer, but it was only last year.
God, that was last year.
Yeah, because Kills and Ends came out back to back,
You're right, yeah.
or not came out back, but within a
Well,
year of
I
each
mean,
other.
everybody's talking about how they wish James Whale was even half the filmmaker that David Gordon Green is. I mean, did you see The Exorcist Believer? It was better than the original.
Yeah, not to get off on an Exorcist believer tangent, but I think that movie also has an angry mob, from what I've heard,
Yeah, do you know why?
because Pazuzu dies tonight.
Yeah. Pazuzu
Pazuzu.
dies tonight. I want somebody to make that into a t-shirt. I'd wear that. And Yoka.
The guy looks like Brian Cox.
He should play that Frankenstein.
I think he's probably too old.
This movie also gave birth to one of those things where like when you're trying to prove that you know more about movies than someone else. Well,
Yeah,
Frankenstein was actually the scientist.
yeah.
Yeah, no shit. We just shortened
No,
it to Frankenstein.
and to be fair to people who still think that the monster's name is Frankenstein, these movies didn't really help. Like the second movie is called Bride of Frankenstein, but
True.
the bride, it's not the bride of the scientist, it's the bride of the monster.
Yeah, but that's a
So,
mouthful. Bride of the Frankenstein's monster.
Bride of the monster of Frankenstein.
Now you're getting into the Walking Dead levels of like.
Of the Planet of the Apes.
Did I send you the title of that new Walking Dead spinoff?
No.
So you know how Daryl got like one of the characters got his own spinoff. So
Yeah,
it's
Daryl.
getting a season 2. So originally it was just called The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon makes
Yeah.
sense. Now they're bringing Carol in, so it is The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, hyphen, The Book of Carol.
That's so stupid.
What is with all these books? You
Wait,
have the
so
you have the Book of Saw, you have the Book of
the Book of Saw,
the Book of Carol. There
the
was that
Book of
other one.
Shadows.
There was another movie that had the word book in the title.
That
I
was like
just
a franchise movie.
yeah, I just made a joke about it the other
Um,
day.
uh, the only thing I can think of is Book of Shadows, the Blair Witch 2 or whatever.
So now
But that's
we're
it.
at the climax of the movie.
Yep.
Oh, we got the Book of Saw, the Book of Carol, and the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the Book of Boba
I was like, I know there's
Fett.
something else.
Yeah.
I don't know who's writing these books, but they need to stop.
Stop writing the books
That's a
about
gorgeous
Boba
shot.
Fett. Yeah, no, this movie looks beautiful. I don't care that you can tell that's a curtain. Looks good. um No, I mean we've already talked about it, but I'd love to see Universal do a remake of this, even though there's been a billion remakes. I think you can make the definitive version of this movie.
Well, and even then with this one, how many high profile remakes have there been? Just the one, right?
Yeah, this is just I guess the Kenneth Branagh movie, and yeah, there's like a mini series.
And honestly, I would be down for a bunch of for some mini series that adapts this material. Okay, I have a pitch. Mike Flanagan directs
Yes.
Frankenstein, and it adapts this and Bride as like a 10-episode mini series.
Yeah, or it adapts the book, and maybe it also uses some of the iconography from these movies and kind of like a
Nobody
mix.
cares about the book.
I'm just saying the book is the better version of this
No,
story.
I feel like if you get someone like Flanagan, you're gonna get an adaptation of the book.
Yeah, yeah. Based on what I know about Flanagan's work, I could see him looking at the book and maybe also looking at this and kind of doing like a mashup, like
But
like an in between kind of version.
but Torgo, you know what I'm gonna
Yeah.
say, right? Don't read from the
Uh,
book. So this might be where the movie ages the most, and not in a bad way, but like these fight scenes are awful for a
yeah,
fight
and
scene.
I mean, I guess it's more about the suspense than it is the action.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that's like some Star Trek TOS fighting.
Can you imagine William Shatner fighting the monster,
Can you
giving
imagine
him a
William Shatner
karate
as the
chop?
monster?
Oh my god, that would actually be perfect because in the book there's a part where the monster actually learns English and he starts to speak in full sentences, and I would just
or
love to. I'd love to see William Shatner do in his Shatnerian way deliver some of the lines of the monster.
or better yet, imagine Shatner as Frankenstein the scientist. It's by God alive.
By God, Igor,
It's
it's
alive.
alive. Spock. I mean Igor. And I mean, even though his only lines in this movie are Karloff, does a great job.
He's so good with the physicality. I'm gonna give it to him now that I'm watching this and talking about it with you. RoboCop is totally a take on Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, I think the thing that it doesn't have is the relationship between the creator and the creation.
I
That
mean,
Frankenstein that this does.
I could kind of see it though adapted to that, cynical business 80s though, because he ends up trying to take down his creator.
That's gotta hurt.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
I feel like Frankenstein was probably supposed to die in this movie.
Yeah, I don't feel like this was made with a sequel in mind.
Yeah, the monster definitely was supposed to die.
Oh,
Yeah, because the Frankenstein, he like hits the windmill. It's pretty painful.
well, and that's what always makes me laugh when people are like, "We're tired of franchises." Film has been franchised since the beginning of film. Like
I
this is the
mean,
30s, and we're watching what you could
I mean,
argue
this
is the
is
first
one of the older
franchise.
examples. Yeah.
It dies down every few decades, but it comes back.
Well, and I don't really care as much about like if a movie is a franchise movie or not, as long as it's good.
He's so scared.
I mean, I'd be scared too if I was in a flaming windmill.
Windmill?
Windmill? I pronounced that weirdly. Windmill. Uh, but yeah, they've established it earlier, obviously. But this Frankenstein definitely has a fear of fire. It's the thing that kills him.
Honestly, Torgo, you know what I want them to bring back more than anything?
What's that?
The Versus movie. Put some of these Universal
Hey,
monsters together in a movie and let them fight.
we were this close um
Greatness.
to Michael versus Jason.
We were. I was so
We
disappointed.
we were this close.
Well, and I looked some more into that. Apparently, that's just for the TV rights. Miramax still co-owns the film rights. So,
Well, yeah, didn't they say that they wanted to do a cinematic universe that had film and television?
yeah. So, I mean, I'm guessing more so like it just means we're going to get more Halloween movies. And then if they can spin something off into TV if they want.
So, oh yeah, so
Which,
you're
I
saying
mean,
even if A24 got the rights, we probably still would have had more Halloween movies.
yeah, Miramax would be making the movies no matter what, but A24 would have been able to make a TV show.
I don't know how you feel about this, but that ending feels pretty tacked on.
Yeah.
It's like we
It's
have
what
to end on somewhat of an uplifting note.
No, this really feels like, well, we don't trust that the audience will like a bad ending.
Yeah.
Which,
Like,
hey,
oh, he's
maybe in the
alive.
30s that was fair.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess I'm viewing it through like a modern perspective, but
See, now they tell you who played the monster.
yeah. At the opening credits, it was question
I
mark man.
I like that. That's the nice little, kind of cool.
Although, if I remember correctly, they don't do that in Bride of Frankenstein. I think the bride in the end credits is credited as question mark.
Well, that was a movie.
That was indeed a movie, my friend, and
I
we're
don't.
about to do another one after the break.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but they call them the pictures.
Ah, gee, that was sure a wonderful picture.
All right, everybody, we're gonna take about a 5 minute break. That was a wonderful movie. Would recommend. We'll do a review at some point.
Yeah, I think I'd recommend the classic movie from the 30s, Frankenstein.
Yeah, I would not recommend the classic movie from the 30s, The Wolfman.
I'd recommend The Wolfman. I like that movie.
Anyway, we'll be back in about 5, 6 minutes, depending on what we're doing. And then we are going to
Yep.
watch The Bride of Frankenstein.
We'll be right back.
Be right back.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Hello. Hello there. You underestimate my power, actually.
We are back. Don't try it, Anakin.
Don't try it. We were just quoting Revenge of the Sith, everybody.
The best prequel.
Objectively, yes.
Yeah. Honestly, my favorite, one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I don't know where
Yeah.
to put it with the original trilogy, but it's just I love it.
Yeah. It's up there for me. I probably would have put The Force Awakens over it, but I've fallen out of love with that movie.
Me too.
That's a discussion for another time.
Yes. All right. So, I am very interested to revisit this one because on my letterboxd I gave the first one a 4, but I gave this one a 5.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if it holds to that.
No, I think I like them equally, but I definitely see the argument that this is the better movie.
Yeah.
We'll
Coming
get
in
into
at
it.
a whopping 75 minutes. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
No, I said, are you ready? And nobody's
I'm
gonna get
ready.
that unless they watched wrestling in the early 2000s. But anyway. All right. In 3, 2, I'm super excited for this movie. 1. Oh, I forgot. Get to timestamp 0.
I was just about
Play.
to press it. Oh crap! Here we go. All right, we're going. We're going.
We're professionals, folks.
We've done this many times before.
It's been a while since we've done full-on commentaries.
I'm trying to think what the last one was.
Was it Friday 6?
I think so, yeah. Which was on a Friday the 13th.
Now I'm checking to make sure I didn't forget something.
No, I think that was the last one. Yeah, I mean, we were planning this to do sometime this month, but in hindsight, because I didn't realize that today was Friday the 13th.
Yeah, when we
earlier
planned
today.
this, I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I feel we probably could have done one of those movies as a commentary today, but
I thought about it, but by the time I realized it, I didn't want to change it at the last minute.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we did this. Ultimately, because
yeah, we did Friday 6. That was 8 months ago.
Jeez.
And it's been 9
Time
months since
flies.
we did our franchise ranking.
Time flies when you're having fun.
That is a correct statement. Torgo, we're only 3 months away from our best and worst of the year.
Yeah, and I still gotta watch some movies to make that list. I've seen enough for a movie, but there's more that I need to see.
Yeah, I gotta. I definitely have enough for a list because I've watched some really shitty horror movies.
I know for sure what's going in my worst list. Um, Speaking of scenes that are tacked on, I feel like this opening is kind of tacked on. I'm not the biggest fan of this scene because it feels like it just kind of exists to be like, "Hey, did you know Frankenstein was written by a woman?" And that's it.
Is that supposed to be a woman?
What this woman right here?
Oh,
That's
but
Mary
that's.
Shelley. Well,
Oh, I get it.
it's someone playing Mary Shelley.
Yeah. Well,
In
because they
fact,
keep calling that guy Shelly, and so it threw me off.
I think it's supposed to be her husband, Percy Shelley. Um,
Yeah, this feels like an interlude, but it's like a scene.
yeah. It's just, I don't know. I guess they felt they needed some way to introduce the story, but it just feels awkward.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that this is the same actress that plays the bride, though.
Interesting.
They just don't credit her at the end or at the beginning.
Is this in like the continuity of the movie, or is this out of continuity?
This is out of continuity because I think the idea is in the universe of this scene. Like her book was the first movie, and now she's about to tell these guys the events of the second movie, which I guess would be her next book. I don't know.
Weird. You know what else is weird
See,
though?
it's just a weird scene. Like,
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, to be fair, home media wasn't a thing yet.
true. I guess you might need you kind of need a way to recap the first movie.
Yeah, general audiences probably only saw that first movie once. But what's weird is we never do this again. Like, we adapt Frankenstein, but how many times do we actually do The Bride?
No, I'm not sure. Maybe it's in Kenneth Branagh's movie, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're making me have to watch that. I'm too curious now.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that. But I gotta see Bram Stoker's Dracula first.
Do you though?
Yeah, that's the more famous movie.
Do
Some of
you
the
though?
more successful one. Because for whatever reason, not as many people like the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein movie.
Imagine if that had been successful and we just got a whole line of like insert author's
Yeah.
name here, the monster.
Well, I was about to say they could have done like a H.G. Wells's
The Invisible
The
Man.
Invisible Man, but I feel like that might already be a movie. I need to
I don't
double check that.
I don't know. I feel like when we start with the Universal, we just get to do Dracula or Frankenstein.
It's pronounced Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Well, speaking of Invisible Man, this woman was an actress in the Invisible Man movie.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like at the bar at the beginning. Or
That
the
dude looks like the hunter from Jumanji.
No. The only thing that comes up when I search anything about the Invisible Man movie is just the first one. So
That movie is a technical marvel.
yeah, no, it's crazy how they did, some of the invisible, him moving stuff around. We'll have to do a commentary on that sometime or a review.
Yeah.
I can't tell, but that kind of looks like a fake mustache.
It looks like it's just kind of placed on there, yeah.
Yeah.
This really does pick up right where the last one left off. You just chop that little intro off. Yeah, you could make this a 2-hour movie easy.
Yeah, you just get rid of the last scene in the first one,
And the first
and
scene in
then
this one.
the first scene in this one, and not probably don't change much else because altogether it would just be 2 hours long.
It'd be about 2.5.
There's our boy.
That's such a great fucking shot.
Yeah, I love it.
The water reflecting off of him. And
It's so cool. Hey, he's saving you, man.
Hans!
Would you be the monster's friend?
Yeah, he seems like a cool guy.
You'd have a cigar with him. Oh, he just threw that woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, this woman is very loud.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping he'd throw her off the building. She ran there the entire way like that. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I didn't know cocaine was a thing during this time.
I mean, I assume it was. Hey
I thought
Alexa.
cocaine was invented in the 80s.
Hey Alexa, when was cocaine invented?
Oh, doesn't it have an answer?
Oh. Uh, when was cocaine invented? The first depiction of the use of cocaine by humans can be found in the memoirs of the Florentine traveler Amerigo Vespucci, 1451 to 1512.
Okay.
There you have it, folks. We've always been drug addicts.
We've always been drug addicts.
Hey, she said the thing.
It's alive. But he's alive.
That feels like a response to possible backlash from the first one.
Probably, yeah. I never thought about it like that. When they talk about blasphemy.
Well, and like this is the Jurassic Park thing, right? Like you went too far.
Right.
But Jurassic Park has dinosaurs, so
It's good that they actually have a discussion about that in this movie, because not so much in the first movie. They don't really delve into the implications of what Henry is doing.
Implications. Who needs implications? What are you, some kind of fucking nerd?
Nerd. I don't think the castle even looked this cool in the first movie.
No, this movie, like, there's only a couple years difference, but like this
Seems
feels
like
more technically adept.
they probably had a bigger budget.
Yeah.
Dr. Pretorius.
Cidrate comes in a little glass vial.
Why is she so confused about this man's name? Pretorius? Hey, that's okay if he's gay.
Not in the 30s, it wasn't.
He's a very queer-looking man.
They
I do
keep
like.
saying his name. Like they've said it 6 times in the last 5 minutes.
I do like the inclusion of this Dr. Pretorius character. He's a pretty cool character. Like they don't dive deep into it too much, but like you can tell that there's still some humanity in Frankenstein, but this guy is um
He's on the cusp of just losing it.
yeah. This guy is like feeding his need to, play God. Mm.
So I was catching up on some wrestling stuff before this commentary, and I
Mhm.
sent you a video of it. But you know how that one video I sent you where they were doing like that press conference, and that guy was fucking wasted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeet.
That was funny.
um, well, before that they had this diva on and interviewing her about her match, and because you know that Taylor Swift movie is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Uh, this reporter's question was, "Would you wrestle Taylor Swift?" What?
Yeah, I don't mean to be mean to Taylor Swift, but I don't think she'd win.
I don't think she could do it.
Yeah. I don't think she has it in her.
Just because Logan Paul is somewhat successful in the ring doesn't mean every celebrity can wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, Logan Paul also just sucks as a person.
He does, but damn, he's good in the ring. It's nuts.
I'll take your word for it. The question is, um, could the monster uh, wrestle someone?
Of course. That isn't that what Dracula, what the Wolfman versus Frankenstein is?
It's probably what a lot of these crossovers are. I never got to the I've only seen like the first of each monster plus this one. Um so I haven't got to like the more crossovery stuff that comes later.
I haven't either.
But I know like the House of movies are pretty mixed. And honestly, though, if they were to do another Dark Universe, it might be cool to see some of the monsters fight each other and have another, more versus movies. How did he create these people?
Yeah, like
This part's a little silly.
this feels a little too far for me.
You think so? I'm
I don't
fine
know.
with it.
This doesn't feel like it belongs in this type of movie.
I think when I first saw this, I was like, is this a comedy? This doesn't feel like a horror movie. But I don't know. I'm okay with it.
It's a horror picture.
It's a creepy picture. Like, I don't know. It's silly. It does kind of feel like something you'd see in Young Frankenstein, though. Yes, I think you're very mad. A woman? Sorry, guys. This movie just went woke.
Everyone's talking about how the Bride of Frankenstein is woke.
Yeah, Universal just bowed down to the woke mob, ladies and gentlemen. Now, one of the big differences between this Frankenstein and the book Frankenstein is that, like, this is definitely a much dumber version of the character. They kind of play up his stupidity. Um, a little too much, maybe.
Does that make you outraged?
It doesn't make me outraged. It's just a very different take. Because in the book he's like,
Whoa, Frankenstein, you can't do that.
you can't do that to a woman. Never mind. This movie's not woke. It's problematic now.
Damn, it just swung to the pendulum.
Yeah, in a matter of a second. No, but like, he's able to like learn things and like learn how to speak and read like pretty quickly in the book.
Well, so I would make the argument that I don't think it's a change. It's that he hasn't had an opportunity to learn in this.
Right. But I think that's just because they decided to do something different in adaptation. It's not necessarily a worse thing. These movies are more of its own thing. And I don't think every adaptation should be like a one for one copy of the original. I just think the book is a little bit more of a compelling story. Um, this stuff is all really well shot. We got the return of the angry mob.
Frankenstein dies tonight.
Pazuzu dies tonight.
But yeah, no. So we talk about how this is often kind of just like the rest of the first movie. It's structured that way. There's no build up to anything. It's just here it is.
Yeah, it kind of just continues on from where it left off. That's why this movie has always just really felt like a part two to me. Um,
You know what else is a part two?
Back to the Future Part Two.
Friday the 13th part two.
Yeah, that's a movie. That's a
Hey,
movie, all right.
that's a damn good one.
It's an okay one.
No, it's got a great final girl. It's got good kills.
Yeah. But it doesn't have a joint coming at you in 3D.
True. Friday 3
or a
Loki's kind of.
yo-yo.
Yeah, but Friday 3, let's be real, kind of sucks.
It does. But the only way to watch that movie is in 3D.
Like, the only thing that movie has going for it is the 3D, and it's the one where Jason gets the hockey mask.
Yeah. Well, there's something that 3 and 2 both don't have. Is
Christopher Glovin? Or
Crispin
Christopher.
Glover.
I just came backwards.
Christopher Glovin. Christopher Glovin dancing.
That is true.
His dance is legitimately amazing.
It is.
That was easy. Can't keep that monster down. Oh my god, this woman will not stop yelling.
It's weird. Some of the names and titles in this sound like this is in like Germany, but I don't think it would be, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Because like when you call someone a Frau, like Frau Newman, I think Germany, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think they say where this movie is set. I don't think they ever say, even in the first one, if it was set in Germany. I always got the impression the story was like in London. Hey, we're getting to the goat, the old man,
There's a goat in this movie.
the old blind man. He's the goat.
That's not a goat. That's a blind man.
No, he's the greatest of all time.
Oh, John Cena's in this
No,
movie.
the blind man. I think he just wants violin lessons.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking of with the Dragon Ball thing, where like it's a blind
Yeah.
person that shows the monster kindness.
Yeah, I Immediately thought of The Blind Man when you were talking about that. That was probably the inspiration too.
Probably Dragon Ball does a lot of kind of pop culture references.
So basically, the only way to be the monster's friend is if you can't see him.
Wait, what if they got John Cena to play the monster?
God damn it.
Because you can't see him.
You can't see him.
You can't see me.
It's amazing the work they did in Peacemaker for you to be able to see John Cena.
It really is. And the Suicide Squad,
And the Suicide Squad,
they
yeah.
had to digitally recreate a whole human being.
Using AI, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the way of the future.
Can you imagine if Universal decided to just make an AI generated Frankenstein movie?
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
don't you mean I Frankenstein? I actually haven't seen that.
I haven't either,
I
but I
own that
don't
on
think
my
it could be
Voodoo.
good.
I
So
own that on my Voodoo library, and I
here's my
never
cat.
watched it. Is that the one that tries to kill you?
Yep, she's the one. It's the only one I have.
Psychopath cat.
Yeah, she's a killer. You have to be a killer. What are you doing? Okay, there you go. Ow. Oh my god, it's Jesus.
Not quite.
Not quite.
I ordered that Hellraiser box set.
The
All right.
arrow one?
Yeah. Torgo, I'm gonna propose something to you live on our commentary. When I get that box set in,
You're gonna propose to me?
I propose an idea to you.
Okay.
When I get that box set, Hellraiser commentary.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
Not all of them?
No, we're gonna do all four at once.
No.
No,
I'll do the first
no.
one.
We gotta
I'll
do
do
the
the
third
first
one.
one.
Do the third one.
We don't have to. We don't have to do the one with Jadzia Dax.
Huh? Who?
Jadzia Dax from Deep Space Nine. She's the main character of the third one.
No, yeah, I just mean the first one. I'm glad I'm gonna own 3 on 4K because I unironically love that movie. Um,
That was pretty stupid.
Yeah. How many times do you run into somewhere you say, "Yeah, that movie's stupid"? They're like, "Yeah, that's no."
That's like most of the conversations we have. I'm like, that was dumb, and you're like, yeah, that's why I liked it.
That goes to show where my movie tastes lie. But no, four finally they finally uncovered the long rumored work print cut of four.
Oh, okay.
Which because that movie is famous for the studio being like, Pinhead doesn't show up in this enough. We need to recut it.
Oh. Well, was it? It was still Doug Bradley at that point, right?
Yeah, he doesn't leave until 9.
So that's at least good.
Because that movie has a reputation for being Hellraiser in space, but it was only supposed to be like space at the very end because it's supposed to be like this family line from like the 1800s to the future. But because they were forced to shove more Pinhead in it, they do this whole opening bit in the future. It's like on a space station. So now Hellraiser 4 is just known as the one where Pinhead goes to space.
Would you watch Frankenstein in space?
I would. Honestly, I
mean,
would watch.
You'd watch
I
Amityville in space.
We should watch Amityville in space.
You can do that alone. That's fine.
Nope, now you have to do it.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
You're over there like, no, no.
No, no.
You
will die.
I'm gonna like go Clockwork Orange on you, like sit you down and put things in your eyes. Sit you down, put things in your eyes, and make you watch 12 hours of Tubi.
As long as you don't scratch my eyes like Malcolm McDowell in real life. Frankenstein. The monsters just get to say, I'm ugly and I'm proud. There's always gonna be a scene at a graveyard, folks.
This looks great.
It looks really cool.
There's definitely some religious commentary in this movie, right? Like, because now you got the cross. Yeah. You know who they're going to get to direct You know who they're going to get to direct Frankenstein?
Zack Snyder.
Yes.
It's the first person I thought of when we were talking about religious symbolism.
Imagine Zack Snyder's Frankenstein. He goes into slow motion as he throws that old woman down the house.
There's a part where Frankenstein falls down and he makes the crucifix the sign of the cross.
Oh.
In slow motion. I don't know. As long as Zack Snyder stops doing the cinematography on his own movies, then I don't know. I'd be fine watching a Frankenstein. Actually, no, because I don't think he's the right person to make that movie. So I take that back. I think this is the same actor that played the Hunchback guy in the previous movie. This creepy looking guy that's reading.
It kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have this, Torgo, but the blacks in this movie also feel a little deeper.
I think that was kind of consistent with the previous one, but I'd have to look at them
It might
side
also
by
be because I
side.
switched from disc to streaming.
Yeah, maybe. I am glad that Peacock has the 4K versions.
Yeah,
That's
they don't
cool.
have a lot of 4K content.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
And something I'm discovering as I'm not a collector, but just someone interested in the technology. Blu-ray was rough for a lot of these older movies.
Yeah, I think 4K is proving to be a better medium for older movies.
Yeah,
Um,
because you look at the first one that comes to mind is The Shining. I've seen comparison shots of the Blu-ray and the 4K. It is night and day.
yeah, I don't know what happened with a lot of those Blu-ray transfers. Like, a lot of them for certain movies were just bad. And I don't know. I don't know what
And then there's
happened.
Terminator 2. Oh.
Yeah, and that's one of the rare ones where the Blu-ray is better because they didn't screw with it. I'm still waiting for them to do a proper, just regular transfer of that without, whatever nonsense they did. They need to do a re-release of that at this point. The two best characters in the movie meet.
True. Okay, so I'm overthinking this, but he's a corpse brought to life, right?
Yeah,
How does he digest any of this? Like, did his organs come back to life?
I mean, yeah. If he's brought back to life, then I assume all of his other functions are
Oh, see,
back to
he's
life.
talking.
And he's talking. He learned to talk from the blind man.
I like that we never like he's not the one that changes. The situation around him changes. Like he attacked
Yeah.
those people, but he's not evil.
Yeah. No, it's a tragic story. Like, he was never given the chance to transition into society. He just wants a girl now. He really is a man. And here's more of his human side coming out. So I do like in this movie how he's not just a mad scientist.
That's a great shot.
Yeah. I like that Pretorius is taking credit for the monster learning how to speak. Like, that wasn't you, you idiot. I agree, Frankenstein. Or monster, rather. See, even I mix it up sometimes.
What a fake fan.
I know. Excommunicated from the Frankenstein fandom.
You are excommunicado.
I've been declared excommunicado. Now a bunch of assassins are gonna come for me. Now, something that's pretty dark in the book is after Frankenstein kills the monster's bride, the monster actually kills his wife, or his fiance, rather, in revenge. So, don't blame him for being mad. But
Yeah.
like this equipment that's just here for like set decoration probably doesn't do anything practically within the universe of the movie.
Just gotta have that set design.
We gotta have it, folks. We gotta have it. You think this science has any basis in real life?
No.
You don't think that this isn't a bunch of techno babble? Okay. I forget this assistant's name, but he's a pretty standout character, just like the one in the previous movie.
Yeah, no, this movie has what carries this movie is just how well written the characters.
That and the cinematography and the set design.
Oh shit! I wasn't looking at the chat. Sorry, Austin. Austin said it's not science fiction; it's science fact, like Moonraker. I think he left. Yeah, he had to leave to go do. Noah, you weren't paying attention to the chat.
Huh? That was my job? Thought my job was to watch the movie.
Oh. No, it's kind of interesting the role reversal here.
Yeah.
He's kind of the unwilling participant.
He used to be the master, but now the his creation is the master. He did. Dutch angles. It's like Thor. Oh, he almost said it's alive, but he said she's alive. Looks like their lab is sinking.
Damn, we only got 10 minutes left. This is
flies.
pace. I I don't know if I could say that this is paced better because you do have weird stuff like that opening and then that scene where he's showing off the little guys. But this flew by quicker than Frankenstein did.
I think overall it is paced better. You know.
Yeah. And
I think the first movie is still paced well, but now I think about it, I think this movie probably is better in that regard.
you know, I do have to say though, I'm thinking that you're right. This is on par with the first one. I don't think it's a 5, but it's definitely like a 4.
Yeah, I give both 4.5. Strong 4.5 out of 10.
But it could also just be this viewing because I'm also getting really tired.
Sorry.
No, I mean you didn't do it.
It's my fault. I ruined it.
You did. How fucking dare you?
This climax is pretty good.
Yeah. Which climax do you prefer? The first one or the second one?
I think I
The
prefer
first.
this. Because, I mean, the angry mob, whatever, that's like iconic, but I don't know, the whole just like how this is executed and then the reveal of the bride, it's just like so cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this guy dies too, I think. Don't have fire around the monster. It's
You
like
can't do that.
how do you not know that?
Whoa.
You can't do that. Yeah. He ragdolls. just like Henry Frankenstein in the first movie.
Do you think he also survives?
Yes. I
So
think
what?
he gets a spin-off movie.
Then what the hell is Son of Frankenstein?
I don't no clue. I don't know enough about. Is it a? It's probably about Henry Frankenstein's son.
Oh, you know what? You're right. It is.
So at least that that name got it
Makes
right.
sense.
Whereas this movie is called Bride of Frankenstein, but it's not. He's not the bride of Frankenstein, or she's not the bride of Frankenstein.
Do you prefer this or Bride of Reanimator?
I haven't seen Bride of Reanimator.
What a fucking fraud.
We've only reviewed the first Reanimator.
You only watch movies when we review them?
Horror movies, yeah.
What the fuck?
It's The Mummy.
Remember the Mummy?
Oh, that was fast.
Remember when people wanted Angelina Jolie to play the bride?
I think she was cast, wasn't she? For the
I don't know
Dark
if that was
Universe?
casting or if that was just rumored.
I think at some point their plan, and I don't remember if it was Angelina Jolie, but their plan was to do a Bride of Frankenstein movie with Javier Bardem as the monster.
It's crazy how iconic she is, look wise. When she's in this
Yeah.
movie for like 5 minutes.
The movie's named after her, and she's in it for 2 seconds. She's got the Marge Simpson hair.
Yeah. Whoa, is Marge Simpson the bride of Frankenstein?
Yeah, right after this, she went and met Homer Simpson.
Damn.
She was so traumatized by Mr. Monster.
Well, and do you think some of this, with her being so iconic, is because of the monsters?
Probably.
Because isn't the mom in that like kind of based on this?
I think so, yeah. She hated me. Well, and I mean, also, Frankenstein himself is an influence on one of the monsters' designs.
Yeah, but I
Or,
mean that's even more
yeah.
like, yeah, that's just Frankenstein.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing I know about the monsters is the Rob Zombie movie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I haven't seen that.
That's such a good one-liner. God, this movie's so good.
Why does it have a self-destruct Lever. Lever. I
Lever
can't speak.
lever.
I can't speak.
I think you're also getting tired.
I'm tired.
He's tired, folks.
That's a good miniature.
Yeah.
They blew it up.
You maniacs!
Damn you.
Damn you all to hell!
See, and this, it's not as much of like a forced happy ending. It just kind of ends how it ends, you know?
Yeah.
Which is good.
They gave more faith in their audience, folks. All right, no, I'm not gonna give it a 5. I was going with a 4, but that ending bumps it up a half a point.
Yeah. 4.5.
Yeah.
I think they're both 4.5 for me, personally. Great classic films.
That they are. Well, Torgo, we did it.
Indeed, we did. And
Do you feel accomplished?
we did something, all right. We watched movies for 2 hours.
All right.
Yeah, but it's a great way to spend October.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you guys for hanging out. We might do something next week, but if we don't, then actually we probably won't do anything next week because the week after we will be doing another commentary. This time completely blind. Do you know what we're doing?
Oh, it's Five Nights at Freddy's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's gonna be interesting.
2 weeks from today, Torgo.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes.
So no video next week. I'm gonna be too busy playing Spider-Man, just to be honest. And then we will be back in 2 weeks from today for Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, very, very important stuff and things. Until next time, guys, we will see you later.